So why is a woman constantly dissatisfied with you, right? And the relationship, asking for more, complaining about your behavior, right? Here's something that men get wrong about being more masculine. It has nothing to do with the amount of money you make or being the toughest guy in your relationship, right? It's about whether your partner feels safe in your presence. And this is something that so many men are failing miserably at, and they have no idea they're doing it, right? They think if they work harder, they make more money, they buy their partner the stuff that they want, everything will be fine, right? But in fact, it often doesn't, and it actually makes things worse. And relationship science is really clear, right? Women trust men who can stay grounded under pressure, who don't collapse, who don't get defensive, who don't shut down, who don't stop talking, who don't get aggressive. Those are the men that women trust and whose relationships go well. So I'm going to tell you three simple secrets that you can do to show up more masculine in your relationship, to create more love, more connection, more understanding, more togetherness, right? And I'm also going to tell you the mistakes that kill attraction, that kill connection, that kill this lovely, good natured vibe that you could have in your relationship. And these are things that have helped me in my relationship, going from being absolutely terrible at relationships to being in a beautiful 6-year-long relationship with a wonderful woman and my beautiful little boy. And that's helped many of my clients as well. So where am I going to start, right? The first one is really this grounded presence. Now, when we say presence, a lot of the time as men, we think, okay, I'm present, I'm here, I'm in the room, I'm in front of you, right? But we're not talking about this physical nature of presence, of like actually being here, right? Like being in time and space in front of him. We're talking a deeper level of presence, because often what happens, what our presence is really attached to is our thinking, our fears, our worries, our stories, and our judgments, right? So you're talking to your partner and she asks you to go and do something and you react in a way, but really you're not reacting to her. You're reacting of the story about her that you have. Like, she's always nagging me. Nothing's ever good enough. Like, that plays through your mind as she ask you for something. And that's not presence, right? That is actually being distracted. That's actually being disconnected from the moment, being disconnected from her, disconnected from this place that you're in now. And actually, you're actually back in childhood, most likely, connected to something that's connected to your mother, your parents, and what you didn't get, or the girl that dumped you when you were 12 years old. So when we say rooted presence, it's about being really grounded in this moment, feeling your body in time and space of being here, and your mind being still and open, right, to your partner. Because the mistake that most men make is that, for instance, in conflict, they're not present, right? Instead of breathing and staying present, they are completely in the throes of their emotions, shutting down, getting defensive, overreacting, getting aggressive, like leaving the room, like running away without any communication, or not being able to communicate because they're so afraid of what they say. Another example of not being present is this constant distraction that we are in, right? Where we're sitting in front of a partner and they sit down to talk to us and we're scrolling on our phone, right, at the same time, and we're telling them that we're listening. And we already know, if you listen to this podcast for long enough, the research shows that even having a phone on the table steals away our attention and reduces the depth of a conversation, right? Or it could look like working at the dinner table, right? Or when you're meant to be with your kids, you're on your phone checking the sports scores or Instagram or whatever it is you like to check on your phone. Distraction, right? Or another level of distraction is thinking about other things when you are actually meant to be present with someone in front of you, right? It's like me sitting here podcasting and I'm actually really thinking about what I'm doing after this, what needs to happen tomorrow, what I need to deliver later on tonight. I'm not here with you, right? And you think people can't feel it, but they can. And your woman definitely can, right? So this is the thing you need to cultivate, this grounded presence. This will bring this masculine core online, right? And just have you be felt as more reliable, more trustworthy, right? More open, more honest and seen, right? Number 2, and this is something that I didn't get right for absolute years. This is about leading from consciousness, right? This wide open consciousness, and not our reactivity, right? So what's consciousness? Ultimately, And we kind of in this kind of state of this like sacred masculineness, this masculine energy that's like risen above our petty human like worries and concerns. We are open. We don't need anything. We are complete, right? In a way that when I learned Tantra, you have Shiva and Shakti. Shiva's consciousness, the masculine. Shakti's the feminine energy, right? Shiva doesn't need anything. He is just in the stillness of everything is perfect and complete as it is, right? And this is something that we need to practice being connected to, right? By being in the moment, but also be connected to like everything is okay. I'm spacious, I'm open, right? Listening. Whereas reactivity, right, is when we are completely overwhelmed by or just even having strands of it, right? Because it's not a binary thing, right? Reactivity. We can just be 3% reactive and 100 and 97% conscious in consciousness. But that reactivity will cause us to say things and respond to ways to our partner that are out of alignment with who we want to be, right? So it's a bit like your partner comes to you with an issue, right? She starts talking to you and all you're thinking is, oh my God, she's saying I'm not good enough. Like I'm the problem. I'll never be good enough. Oh my God, she's saying it again. She's going to leave me. Any of these sorts of things start going through your mind. And then you start to respond from that story, from that belief, from those emotions, from that energy. You're not coming from this spacious consciousness, right? You're in reactivity. And then you get into an argument with each other and you start getting into it and you start to shut down and you start to sulk or whatever you do, right? And I've done all these things. No judgment. I've done all of those things, right? That is not coming from this kind of masculine consciousness that you want to breed, that you want to create, right? And another example of what this looks like when you're not kind of in this deep consciousness, nice guy strategies. I know a lot of you guys are nice guys. You talk to me, you send me messages, right? This is where you are in this like, oh, if I am a certain way, then I'm going to get the love that I want. If I'm nice and kind and give them everything I want, I'm going to get what I want. When actually, that's not really who you are. It's in inauthenticity. And you're just coming from this story of like, who I am isn't good enough, so I need to pretend to be someone else, for example. Another example of not kind of coming from this spacious consciousness is the way that we avoid leadership opportunities and responsibility in a relationship. So say, for instance, there's an obvious aspect of like something needs to be done. Your sex life isn't where you want it to be, right? For the two of you. And the obvious thing to do is to be like, hey, let's bring something into our sex life or plan a date day or date night or whatever it may be, right? Create some plan. But instead of that, you're attached to your story of like, I don't want to fuck it up. She's going to complain whatever I do. I never get the thing right. So you don't do anything because you're in reactivity to your story, right? So this one here about leading from consciousness is about practicing coming from a place of spaciousness, of responding to the moment, responding to your partner, responding to what's needed outside of your story of wound and pain and, wounded inner child, right? And this is something you can practice doing. Number three is about facing our fear, right? While facing fear, even when it's difficult. But more than anything, this third one, right, about facing fear, it's about opening to love even when fear is present. So here's what we do most of the time, right? Our partner is in that moment where they're really asking for more love in some way, whether it's more attention, more openness, more vulnerability. And we face that by running away, avoiding, not opening up, not speaking. Right? So it might be you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of judgment, of not being good enough, of creating conflict, right? So instead of leaning in with love and being like, hey, yeah, as you say that, and this is an example, as you say that, like I just feel this fear of, like I fear that if I say what's really true for me, you're going to reject me. But here's what I'm going to say. Yeah, here's how I feel about you, whatever it may be, right? There's fear there. Right? But you lean into love and you create courage in those moments. Another example is the way in which we will grasp for validation. And men often do this with women outside the relationship, right? So you might be on Instagram and you see some hot woman who's in a bikini or whatever it may be. And this feeling of like, I can never have a woman like this kind of starts to come up. And then maybe you don't even notice that feeling and that story. And you might slide into their DMs. You might comment on their posts. And part of you is hoping that she's going to respond, she's going to like your thing. And then you're grasping for this validation, this hoping. And it might be something you say to work colleagues. It might be looking at women on the train, right? There's some way in you're seeking validation from this wounded part of you that doesn't feel good enough, that doesn't feel lovable, right? Outside your relationship. Or it could be even inside your relationship, you do this. So what do we do here? I gave you an example, right? You have to lean into the fear while also leaning into the love, right? And not use that fear as a way to back out and run away from a relationship. And if you show up like this in your relationships, right? In your romantic relationship, even in your dating life as well, this will transform your experience because you will be spacious, you'll be open, you'll be present, you'll be responding to the moment, not your story about the person, not your fears about yourself, not your fears you hold about how other people around you are judging you, right? You'll be felt as more present, more reliable, more confident, right? More self-assured. Because a lack of confidence, a lack of self-assuredness shows up in reactivity. You know, it's like when the waiter brings over the meal and it's the wrong meal. And you're like, oh my God, I don't want to piss anyone off. So I'm just not going to do anything. No, I'm not going to say anything actually. That's reactivity. I've been there where you're like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to upset anybody, right? But actually, if you stopped and went, what's really true for me right now? Actually, I'm just going to, hey, this isn't actually what I ordered. I'm really sorry. This isn't actually what I ordered. You might not even apologize. I might just say, hey, this isn't what I ordered. I ordered blah, 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 blah. And they may go, oh my God, we really apologize, blah, blah, blah. And then the moment might call for a little humor of like, hey, but if you want to give this to me for free, I'll take that, right? You're not kind of succumbing to this reactivity of like, oh my God, I can't rock the boat. I can't upset anybody. But you're also bringing some play, some fun, this kind of essence that's really deep beneath us, this childlike part of us, right? And that's an example. You don't have to do that in a moment. But it's like coming from a place of not needing the validation and not succumbing to our fears and worries, and also being in the moment of what is and not creating a story based on the past of what's occurring in us right now. So, a little summary, because it's only a short episode. 3 things I did. I talked about these 3 aspects of really connecting to this masculine energy, this masculine way of being, right? Rooted in presence, leading with consciousness, right? And not reactivity, and really like overcoming fear and leaning into love. Because this is something we don't do enough. We don't learn, this last one, we don't learn as men how to move from love. And often when we think we're moving from love, we're acting and responding from love. We're reacting from neediness, right? We're reacting from desperation. So these are these subtle shifts, right? But these are the sort of men I work with, the CEOs of the world, the founders and so forth, who don't have massive time. They know that these shifts make a massive difference in their relationships, right? Because ultimately they may not have hours and hours with their partners every day, but they know they can prime themselves, they can get into a state and show up in the moments that really matter. So if you enjoyed this episode and you're watching on YouTube, go down below, a little like, ding, doesn't make that noise, does it? A little like would be wonderful. Comment below, like, where do you struggle and why do you think you struggle to really show up with this presence that we're talking about? Yeah. What are the kind of common fears that come up for you inside the relationship with your partner? So that's a little question for you down below. You can do this on Spotify as well. And what else is there for me to say? I want to say thank you for listening. Like, subscribe as well, whatever platform you're on. And a little FYI, I'm bringing through a program, something that's a bit different from what I've done before, that's going to really talk into these aspects of like healthy masculinity, divine, sacred masculinity, whatever words you want to use it, these healthy traits that we struggle with as men because no one teaches us anymore, because our fathers are absent to some degree or don't have them themselves, how to bring these relational skills into a relationship with the women we're with, and how to bring them into dating as well, but also to then reset, shift our confidence in ourselves and our self-esteem and our self-worth, right? In really powerful ways that I've learned that's really helped me get into a thriving and keep my relationship thriving. So I'm going to start to birth that through. So if you're interested, stay tuned. I may even have a doc of interest, for those people who want to be really early adopters and be the exclusive first group to go through that. So email me down below if you're really interested in that. Yeah. Ciao, ciao.